This time, though, he doesn't open with Alabama. It looks like a game in which USC will be favored by a couple of touchdowns, and the schedule has a lot of home games, and many people that predict for a living, myself included, see USC as a national championship contender. Let's bring on their coach, Clay Helton, to the herd today. All right, first things first, we gotta ask you about this, because my high school coach, I was a quarterback. I was lousy. Were you a quarterback?
I was.
You went to Auburn, right?
Yes, sir.
Move that thing right up there, Clay, that microphone. And I hated when my coach did this. If the left tackle jumped offside, we all had to run. So I would just go down set hike. I was awful. Now, do you make your team – this is such a ridiculous question. What if somebody jumps? Does the whole team run?
Yeah, one fail, all fail. You end up choosing that form or that philosophy sometimes, and then you go the other way. Sam had a couple interceptions yesterday, so after practice, him and the quarterbacks ran after practice. And
so they all had to run because of Sam?
Yeah.
That bum.
So what do you feel like you get out of making the entire team suffer for one person's mistake?
Well, remember, it is a brotherhood. It is a family.
Yeah.
And if one person jumps off sides, then everybody has to pay for it in a game. And you have to understand that it's not an individual sport.
It's really not, especially on defense.
It's a team sport.
Offense, literally there's symmetry. Like if you move, I mean, most penalties in the NFL are illegal movement.
Yeah.
So there's total choreography.
Yeah.
So, everybody knows that Sam Darnold is a really talented guy. And he's a great kid. And there's a lot of speculation. I mean, this is ridiculous. People are like, is he going to leave? And it's like, can the kid play? When you hear this stuff, now you've had Matt Leinart stay, Carson Palmer stay. Have you had those guys talk to Darnold? How are you taking it in?
Yeah, we're so fortunate at USC because you have the Carson Palmers, the Matt Leinarts, the Cody Kesslers, the Matt Barkleys, those guys stay. And the advice that has been given, and even what I'm preaching to Sam, is, hey, just capture the moment, capture the now. Let's focus on becoming a better player. We've started in 9 games as a college football player. There's so much growth that we can have. Plus, he is so good at worrying about the team's success over his own individual success. That's all he cares about. The individual success is just a byproduct of the team success. So that's our worry right now. Just capture the now, capture the moment, make a big stack of little wins, and let's worry about what happens 5-6 months from now.
Now, you're an offensive guy, Clay, and you're the one that spotted Sam Darnold very early. When you're on the sideline and watching him, is he his emotional state? Take me through Penn State game. What separates him? Because, I think he has a nice arm. I don't think he has Cam Newton or Aaron Rodgers' arm. I think he has nice feet. I don't know if he has Russell Wilson's feet. There is an intuitive nature to him. But what do you see? How is he to coach?
Yeah, having played the position and being a quarterback coach by trade, the one thing that I really appreciate from him, he reminds me of the great golfer or the great pitcher that can make that one swing or that one pitch, and it's over and done. Whether it was good, whether it was bad, he moves on to the next play. Short memory. So even when you see him make that last touchdown pass in the Rose Bowl, and every 18 to 19-year-old kid should be celebrating and going crazy, the first thing he does when you watch the TV copy, he looks to the sideline, and he's looking to say, Coach, are we going for 1 or 2? He moves on to the next step, and that's a rare trait, especially for a young quarterback.
When you enter this year, it's different. Like last year, Alabama was heavily favored. They were the preseason national title. You were just taking over the team. You guys didn't really – there was a lot of questions about who was going to quarterback. People thought Darnold had more talent. Max Brown put in the time. Okay, Clay, this team, I follow it. It's good. You, Florida State, Alabama, Ohio State, you start looking at rosters, you're like, you should be really competitive. Do you coach more conservatively? Do you coach differently? What is the psychological camp like knowing you're now a target?
Yeah. One of the things is at USC, there's always expectations. And as good of memories as we made at the Rose Bowl last year, my first question to our team was, are you satisfied? And not one hand rose because we understand USC. It's about Pac-12 titles and national titles. That's why we came. If you didn't like it, don't take the job. And, we don't see it as an obligation. We see it as an opportunity. We have a very, very good team. It's a young team. But the greatest thing that happened to us is being able to keep the continuity of our staff. All 3 coordinators are back.
God, that's the first time in years.
Oh, my goodness. To have the second year in a system, you look at us in spring training, you look at us in these first couple practices in fall camp, and you go, wow, we're playing so much faster than we did last year just because we're in second year of the system.
Now, your schedule is interesting. Nick Saban would never admit this, but he jerry-rigs it. They get buys right before LSU. They play the cupcake late in the season. You don't have a bye. And by the way, because it's L.A., you can't schedule Panera Bread. Okay, you have to play Texas. You got to play Notre Dame. I mean, you maybe get, Western Michigan, who, by the way, came off a great season. So are you concerned that you got a bunch of 21-year-old kids, you're a young team, you don't have a bye? You're the only good team in the country with no bye.
Yeah, you either got to look at glass half empty or glass half full. I'm a glass half full guy, so I look at it as, hey, guys, you know what? If we do our job 12 straight weeks in a row, guess what? We get our bye before the Pac-12 championship game. We get 2 weeks to prepare for a Pac-12 championship game. Now, the reality as a head coach, you're going to have to really manage your team and see how healthy you are.
Okay, so will you stop hitting in September instead of November?
Well, depending on where our health of our team is. I think that's one of the things that we've sat down as a staff. You put this great plan together to be able to prepare for 12 weeks, but all of a sudden you get 2 guards that go down. Well, you may have to pull back a little bit. If you're healthy, yeah, you keep going. You keep the pads on. You keep hitting. But you have to be able to manage your team and get a great feel for your team to see where they're at.
Do you think college scheduling, and again, I'm not just because you're here, but Pac-12 schools are often located in bigger cities. University of Washington's in Seattle, they have pro sports. The Bay Area, pro sports. U and UCLA, pro sports. Because of that, you have to schedule better out-of-conference games. You have Texas. UCLA's got Texas A&M. In the South, smaller towns, you open up the gates and the stadium sold out. There is a uniformity issue in college football that USC simply plays a harder schedule than other teams. Does it bother you? Is it something that you've addressed with people at the NCAA?
Yeah, well, what you have to look at is you got to remember we're in a playoff system world. And at the end of the day, you better have a great resume. And we're fortunate at USC. The way I look at it is we're going to play 9 Pac-12 games. We're going to play Notre Dame every year. And then we're going to play the likes of Alabama, Texas. If you want to be the best, you got to play the best. We never want there to be a question mark at the end of the season when we look up and have done our job, that you look back and you look at that resume. If you've done your job, they go, wow, that's a playoff football team. And I think when you play the 9 Pac-12 games, you play Texas, you play Notre Dame, you play Western Michigan, if you get your job done, you're going to look up and they're going to say, wow, that's one of the teams that we should consider.
Did it bother you at your career? Because you were always widely respected. Your father was an NFL coach, and here's young, brash Lane Kiffin gets a job. And for a long time, Clay Helton, who just went to work, head down, no flash, football faith family, was passed over. And even Ed Orgeron, who was loud and kind of quirky, and I mean, Ed's one of the funnier guys you'll ever meet. How did it not at some point, Clay, did you ever think, I'm never going to get the shot?
Yeah. You got to just make the most of when you get your opportunity. And you also have to make sure that you're prepared. And I said this the other day at Pac-12 Media Days. I'm so happy that I had 20 years of being an assistant football coach. And under Coach Kiffin, Coach Sark, Coach Orgeron, and everybody else, because you end up pulling things that you're going to take that tool and put it in your toolbox that you can use. And I was around. I mean, Lane Kiffin is a brilliant offensive coach. Coach Sark, brilliant offensive coach. I've been around men that I've taken things from that have helped me, and now it's my opportunity to be the head coach.
Did you ever
of
coach
USC.
under Pete Carroll?
I did not get that opportunity.
You didn't get Pete. Pete's got his own personality.
Oh, no question.
He's going 100 miles an hour.
And that's what you got to do as a head coach. You take those tools that fit you and you use them. And at the end of the day, my daddy gave me the best advice. Make sure you take those tools, but always be you. Clay Helton got the job. So, and 18 and 21-year-olds can smell falseness from a mile away.
They can, can't they?
Oh, my
See,
gosh.
now it's funny because you're a very, very authentic person. And it was funny when you got the job, I was asking people, and my first question was, I know Clay can coach. Can he recruit? Because he's not a salesman. He's a father. And it's funny. Now all my sources are like, there's so many salesmen on the road that Clay's the anti-salesman. So what, okay, but let's pretend. Okay, let's just do a little role play.
Yeah.
I'm 19 and I'm a quarterback, which by the way I was horrible. But what's your pitch? By the way, Harbaugh just walked out, Saban just walked out, and here is what's your pitch?
Well, one of the things that we got a great product to sell. You know, you're talking about one of the top 15 academic universities in the country.
That's what Harbaugh said.
Yeah, and then you also combine that with one of the elite athletic programs there are in the world. Most first-round draft picks, more NFL draft picks, more Hall of Famers. But here's what we do. You know, when you come to USC, you're coming to a family. You're coming to a tradition of excellence that spanned 125 years. You're coming to some place that you're going to be watched over. I have 3 children by birth, and 105 I got the honor to adopt. And that's the way I approach it.
It's all family.
It's all family. It's all brotherhood. It's my obligation to be able to take a young man, and then 4 years later, he's a true professional, whether that's on or off the field.
Who's the hardest to recruit, mom, dad, or the kid?
For myself, I think each individual is different because each family is different. You may have a kid that has a single mom. You may have a kid that comes from a 2-parent home. Each kid is looking for something different, and your responsibility as a coach is to be able to find out what that is and then provide him the information to see if it's a fit.
Everything's transparent, too. You can't BS kids anymore.
No.
I mean, you can say, oh, we got the greatest program. I can Google it in 3 seconds.
Yeah, no question.
Yeah.
You got to just see. You provide them the information, see if it's a fit for them. And if it's not, then don't get over emotional about it.
Have you ever had a game in which I remember I was talking? Was it Matt Leinart one time, and he goes, "We had a game with Pete, and we were just terrible in the first half." And then Pete went in and turned on music and started dancing, and he said, "I just want to wash this off." Now, obviously, Alabama got out of control, but do you go into games and you're an offensive mind, and we can look at some tape here and some highlights, and you're like, "Wow, our game plan is not working whatsoever." Do you take my audience into, as an offensive coach, what kind of alterations do you make at half? How many can you make?
Yeah.
Penn State, by the way.
Yeah, and really you have to make them even earlier than that. And one of the things I appreciate about T. Martin and Tyson Helton on our offensive staff is after each series we go and say, hey, we just had an 8-play drive. What just happened there? Coach, they're playing cover 2. We weren't expecting that. Okay. Hey, what are we going to do here? Well, cover 2 means hand it to Rojo about 4 times in a row and get him back in 1 high. But you have to be able to make those alterations. And because of that, you've got to have your Bible of plays. You developed a great game plan, but you have to be able to change within game, not only at halftime, but even earlier than that, even after a series.
Coaching in a game, like the Penn State game, it's just remarkably fun. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I'm tense, but you can't be. Like your mind, you're not even thinking about, like, well, where are you at in Penn State with 2 minutes to go?
Yeah, I'm always thinking 3 plays ahead.
You have to, right?
It's like chess. You have to be able to say, even on the last drive at the beginning of that series, I went to Sam and said, Sam, depending on, we're going to score here, but depending on how much time's left on the clock, we're either going to go for 2 or 1. If it's 20 seconds or less, we're going for 2 to end this ball game.
So you were 8 plays ahead.
Yes.
You knew exactly what you were doing.
Yeah, and then you look up. I didn't know we were going to score in 39 seconds, and there was going to be a minute 20 left on that clock. But as soon as that happened, the risk reward of going for 2 was not a decision. It was go for 1 and allow our defense to play. But that's the mindset. That's why you can't get over emotional. That's why I'm so appreciative of having T as a great play caller to be able to make those steps a couple steps ahead rather than having to call each and every play. I'm able to be a game manager rather than a play caller.
Yeah. You got to be nice to Sam Darnold. Hopefully he comes back. What if you have to bark at him this year? Are you going to say, listen, you're the best quarterback I've ever had. I just don't. Do you have to manage him a certain way?
No, again,
he kind of likes. It seems to me he's
a coach's perfect dream
because he wants you to get after him.
He likes to be coached. I mean, he wants to be coached, and I appreciate that. And the fact of the matter is, between T, Tyson, and myself, there's 3 quarterback coaches on staff. So he's getting coached from all angles at all time. And he takes it all in so respectfully, listens to everything and learns from it. So when he makes a mistake, he's one of the quicker guys I've ever coached to go ahead and fix it.